What is up, guys? In today's video, I'm going to be talking about why I think Fortnite OG or OG Fortnite should not become a permanent mode. As always, if you guys do enjoy this video, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you'd like to see more, comment down below what I talk about or what you think of what I talk about, and if you think Fortnite OG should become a permanent game mode. So at the end of the Fortnite OG season, Epic posted this tweet that I'll have on screen now saying, "Not gonna lie, the OG season exceeded our expectations. So much so that we'd like to bring it back. Opens the 2024 roadmap. In the meantime, we'll see you on the battle bus." And so a lot of people, took this tweet to obviously mean that Fortnite OG or OG Fortnite will be returning to some capacity in 2024, and that it should be a permanent game mode like how we have with Rocket Racing, Lego, and Festival mode, because with these additions to the game, Epic is obviously trying to kind of like build the multiverse with VR, these different game modes, and then creative as an option as well. So it kind of makes sense to kind of slot in OG as its own game mode. There's obviously a lot of demand for it and a lot of people who enjoyed playing it. Personally, though, I don't think it should become a permanent mode, and I think it should stay as like a temporary anniversary style event at the end of the year or at the end of a chapter, or maybe every other year. Something along those lines. So regardless of how you feel about the OG Fortnite season, I don't think you can deny that it was like extremely successful and extremely popular. My comment section and my viewers is mostly zero build, and I would say overwhelmingly negative during the OG season. It was like low-key kind of irritating to even read comments during that season at times, with people just directing their anger at a month-long event at my comment section at times, But even then, even if you're someone who hated it, I think it's very unreasonable to deny that it was successful. It had like huge player counts throughout most of it and broke several records for Fortnite BR's player count, at least as far as when they started displaying the player count, right? So it was extremely successful. And so you might see that and be like, why not just keep it around? It'll be successful all the time. But I think so much of the reason why it was successful was because that it had been years since we had played on the Chapter 1 map, and with the Chapter 1 loot pool, and with it being a limited time offering or a limited time option, people, I feel like, would feel more motivated to play. If there's just something that's always there, you're not going to miss it as much, so there's not going to be as much hype or excitement to play it, but also you might not be as driven to hop on and play if you know that, like, I can get on today or I can get on 6 months from now. It's not going to change anything. So I think having it be a temporary game mode kind of made it stick out the most. And it was the fact that we hadn't played on that map in so long. And there was so many people, missing that map and nostalgic about that map and missing that time in the game. And you saw a lot of people, or at least I personally know a lot of people who hadn't played the game for years who hopped on and tried it again. And you might be some of the people watching, because I've read comments about people or from people that said, like, quit playing Fortnite for years, came back for OG, and I'm still loving Chapter 5. Like, I've seen comments of that nature a decent amount. So I do think it worked to kind of recapture some players for sure. But if there wasn't that time period where people missed the old map and missed the old game, there wouldn't have been the demand for it. It's like a supply and demand thing. The fact that the supply was gone for years as far as like OG Fortnite made the demand very high. And if the supply was just always there, the demand would be very low, because, it's just always there. So I think that keeping it around as an anniversary style event every year, every few years, would make it successful as a mode and a marketing tactic, because like that's what this entire thing was. It'll probably never be as successful as it was the first time around, but I do think you'll have people coming back every year, every time, to experience the old seasons during that month or like kind of few weeks of the event. I think that keeps it more special and more unique than if you just have it around all the time. We kind of saw this with the recreations of OG Fortnite and UEFN or Creative. When UEFN first dropped, there was a lot of teams and people racing to recreate OG Fortnite, and these maps got a lot of attention and publicity, and then they died off over time. Part of that was because of the limitations of UEFN Creative 2.0 and a lot of the bugs that came out with it at the time. But I also think a lot of those maps and game modes kind of died off because it's not entirely nostalgia, but once you've been playing the old thing for a while, you start to want something new. And so having it not innovate and add new things, I think it stagnates pretty quickly. I've also seen this with previous games myself. When Modern Warfare Remastered came out in 2017, I was incredibly excited for that because Call of Duty 4 was one of the first ever like multiplayer games I really played a lot. It was the first Call of Duty I played a lot, and it was fun to play again, but it didn't hit the same, and my interest in it did die off over time. Same thing happened with like Halo 3 and the Master Chief Collection. I was very excited to play that, and then once I played Halo 3 a little bit again, I kind of had my fill and I was done. It's not something I would want to play for months and months and months on end, and that's kind of how I felt about Modern Warfare Remastered as well. That's kind of how I felt about Fortnite OG. It was fun to play and kind of land at those POIs a lot again, but once we were kind of getting near to the end of the event, I was ready for something new. So I think unless they're going to kind of make Fortnite OG a permanent mode and give it its own dev team and kind of cycle through season to season every like few weeks or so, like let's say season 3 now, come May it'll be season 4, and then come July it'll be season 5, and they just kind of rerun that old content. Obviously then you kind of have to worry about development teams and giving it its own separate dev team. They already do that with the other modes, so it's not that big of a deal, I guess. But unless they're going to do something like that, I think it would get old very quick. So I think it's just best to kind of keep it as an anniversary style mode, as a special thing. Think about a lot of your holiday traditions. You might have like, I don't know, a certain drink around Christmas or like fall time. I know not everybody celebrates every holiday, but like you might have certain like snacks or drinks or like food that for certain holidays that are special because you only have it on that holiday or around that time of year. If you had it constantly, its specialness wouldn't really be there. And that's kind of how I feel about OG Fortnite seasons or like the Fortnite OG event. And with future iterations, I don't think it should replace the current BR offering. This might be difficult to do as far as splitting the player base goes and the player count. But let's say Chapter 5 is 4 seasons long again, and they decide to bring back OG at the end. I think during that month or a few weeks, you should be able to choose between Chapter 5 Season 4 or OG and play the mode you want to play. Like I already said, there might be some complications as far as player count goes for that. But I also think with the OG mode, you would have a lot of people coming back that aren't going to play anyways. So it's like, who knows how different that would be. And there is bots and things of that nature in the game. So I don't think it would be the biggest deal. I get why the first time around they made it the only option and kind of focused a lot on it, because I feel like they wanted the narrative to be Fortnite brought back Chapter 1, not Fortnite made Chapter 1 as a game mode. You know, they wanted more attention on it. They did the same thing with Zero Build. When they first added Zero Build, it wasn't a game mode. We just got on for that season and there was no building. Like they like doing things to kind of make it the only option and draw a lot of attention to it. It makes it a bigger deal, I feel like. And I kind of already said it'll never hit the same as like the first time they brought it back. So I think next time you bring it back, just let people play more modern Fortnite as well if they want to play that. And I think being able to go back and forth and kind of compare and contrast, I think would lead to people kind of appreciating aspects of both even more. And I also think if they do bring it back, they should do different chapters than just Chapter 1. And this might be a controversial opinion because a lot of the kind of people that really love Fortnite OG have a fondness for Chapter 1 and they quit after. Like Chapter 2 is the launch of it, especially in like the first few months, not getting updates, led to a lot of people quitting the game. And so you might be like, no, Fortnite OG should be Chapter 1. But I think there's also a lot of people out there who are nostalgic about Chapter 2 and will be nostalgic about Chapter 3 and 4 like years down the line once it's been longer since they've been out, you know? So I do think maybe next year or this year, do Chapter 2 as Fortnite OG and let people relive that map in those seasons again and kind of remember what they liked and what they didn't like about Chapter 2. And for the people who didn't play back then, kind of come back and see kind of what the game was like back then, because I just heard stories about it and heard like talks of like what, you know, Midas was like and what the Midas drum gun was like. I think kind of going through the different chapters year by year and kind of allowing people that miss those chapters to experience them, but also allow new players to experience them for the first time is, you know, very exciting, because there is always kind of talk about past seasons and past chapters in Fortnite. And I say this as somebody who quit the game during Chapter 2. I quit Chapter 2 Season 3 like the first few days of that season, and then I came back in the last month of Chapter 2 Season 8 because I heard Chapter 2 was ending. So I'm not the biggest Chapter 2 fan, but I know there's a lot of people out there that like it and will like be nostalgic about whatever chapter they started in once we're on Chapter like 6, 7, 8, 9, you know, like deeper down the line. But that is going to be it for this video. Let me know what you guys think, and if you think Fortnite OG should be a permanent game mode. As always, if you found this helpful, informative, interesting, remember to give it a like, sub if you'd like to see more, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.